Well, hello, time travelers, and welcome, new time travelers. If you're new to this channel and enjoy learning about history, don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Come along as we travel not only from the US, but around the world, starting back in 1483 to our current history. In 1483, Richard Plantagenet, Duke of Gloucester, began his reign as Richard III. After usurping power from his nephew, Edward V. 1721, with the support of Persian minister Cotton Mather Zabadiel Boylston, began his first smallpox vaccine in the American colonies. That wasn't actually eradicated until I forget what president it was. Anyway, 1819 is when a U.S. Army officer, Abner Doubleday, once thought to be the inventor of baseball, a 1907 finding that was later discredited by evidence of baseball's connection with the older English game rounders, was born. 1904 is when American motion picture actor Peter Lorre, who first achieved international fame as the psychopathic child murderer in the German classic film M, that came out in 1931 and was directed by Fritz Lang, was born in Rosenhagen, Hungary. 41 years later, in 1945, the Charter of United Nations was signed in San Francisco. 3 years later, in 1948, American writer Shirley Jackson's best-known work, the short story The Lottery, was first published in The New Yorker. The tale is a powerful allegory of barbarianism and social sacrifice. 1961 is when General Maxwell D. Taylor, a former U.S. Army Chief of Staff, is recalled to active duty as President John F. Kennedy's military representative for foreign and military policy and intelligence operations. 2 years later, in 1963, during the Cold War, U.S. President JFK delivered his famous Ich bin in Berliner speech in Berlin. Now, for those who actually speak fluent German, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I put this through Google Translate, and this is what it's saying, that Ich bin in Berliner is translated to as I am a Berliner. Now, if you speak both English and German, please tell me what that actually means, because I don't know if that's actually what it means. 1972 is when truce declared by the provisional wing of the IRA went into effect in Northern Ireland at midnight. Violence had increased since the truce was proposed on June 22nd. 2 years later, in 1974, American baseball player Derek Jeter, who, as one of the game's leading competitors, helped the New York Yankees win multiple World Series titles, was born. That makes me think of the Geico commercial where they wanted a clutch hit and they called for Derek Jeter. I wonder if that was same reference. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. CN Tower, which opened to the public on this day in 1976, was at 1,815 feet or 553 meters, the world's tallest freestanding structure, until being surpassed in 2007 by the Burj Khalifa in Dublin, United Arab Emirates. 1977 is when Elvis Presley performed in public for the last time. It's actually a shame. Anyway, 2 years later, 1979, after almost 20 years of professional fights, heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali announced his retirement from boxing. 1997 is when J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is also called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, was first published in London. The book launched into the hugely popular series about a boy wizard. Now, this is actually one of my favorite books and movies. 1997 also brought us the U.S. Supreme Court voting to overturn the 1996 Communications Decency Act, which had sought to restrict indecency on the internet on groups that all provisions of the law violate the First Amendment of the Constitution. 3 years after the turn of the century, in 2003, when American politicians Strom Thurmond, who was one of the longest serving senators in U.S. history and a prominent states' rights and segregation activist, passed away at the age of 100. 10 years later, in 2013, in United States v. Windsor, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the provision in the Defense of Marriage Act that defined marriage for federal purposes as a legal union between one man and one woman. And finally, 2 years later, in 2015, in Obergefell via Hodges, U.S. Supreme Court ruled that state bans on same-sex marriage were unconstitutional, writing for majority Justice Anthony Kennedy stated that no longer may this liberty be denied. And with that, we return to 2024 and our current history. I'll see you all in the next one.